American doctors killed at a hospital as they were heading into work this morning in Kabul by the Afghan security guard who was hired to protect the doctors who were taking care of women and children at this maternity, mostly maternity services hospital in Kabul. It is the latest violence, and it raises new concerns about the safety of Americans there as the United States prepares to withdraw almost all of our forces from Afghanistan.
Just a terrible situation, ladies and gentlemen, as we welcome you aboard. The news breaking overnight in Afghanistan, and we awoke to it. And, 3 American doctors, including a father and son team of doctors, one doctor who had been there over 7 years in Afghanistan to help the women of Afghanistan, and the security guard enlisted to protect them turns on them and kills them. This speaks to a problem that has been around there and elsewhere for a long, long time. We cannot trust many of the people overseas and, unfortunately, on our military bases to be our friends and be one of us when they say they are. Just very quickly, here's the next bite on that report.
The fact that we have 3 innocent people that are killed, they get there to do something that's very good, and all of a sudden, tragically, their lives are over. And it's something that we're seeing, but unfortunately, it's something that was not unpredictable, because we looked in Afghanistan. The one thing the Afghan insurgents wanted at the beginning was a time certain when we were going to pull out, so they could go to any supporters of the United States or supporters of the government and say, look, they're going to be gone. We're going to come after you when they leave. And we're looking around the globe now. We're seeing one foreign policy failure after another, Martha.
Yeah, that's where we are right now, and it's a shame. And we have to protect the people who are there, especially in our military, but volunteers who go to places like Afghanistan to help. We have to bring our own guards. We have to bring our own people from our own country. And I don't know the answer. I'm not a technical expert, but this is outrageous and intolerable. And that is an act of terror. That is an act of terror. Unfortunately, we have a Senate Majority Leader who calls lots of things acts of terror, calls people un-American. I want you to watch Harry Reid in action.
This is the deal, and it's not a good one. So these people who hold themselves out to be patriots are not. They're nothing more than domestic terrorists. And I think that we are a country that people should follow the law. And what went up in Mesquite is not very good. I repeat, what went on up there is domestic tourism.
All right, joining us now, before I even weigh in on that, I'll get myself in trouble, is our good friend Marc Thiessen, former chief speechwriter for President George W. Bush, columnist at The Washington Post. Read him at thewashingtonpost.com. And Marc, welcome, sir.
Good to be with you, Steve.
And also up 2-1, I might add, over the Flyers in the opening round of the NHL playoffs are his Rangers. So he's in a good mood, I'm sure. All right, so, yeah, but Harry Reid could put you right back in a sour mood and put any of us back in a sour mood. He's talking about the Bundy situation. Of course, Bundy today, it was reported, made horrific remarks about blacks and all that. I'm not talking about that. And these remarks by Harry Reid refer to the situation separate from that and before those remarks were uttered. So let's concentrate on that. And I haven't done any stories on Bundy at all, or that whole situation, to be honest with you. But Harry Reid is out of control.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, but look, you don't have to be a supporter of Cliven Bundy to realize that the Senate Majority Leader is out of control, as you say. I mean, I've heard a lot of legal analysis that says that basically he's wrong on the law. He thinks the law is unjust, but he's wrong on the law, and that's fine as far as it goes. But to compare him to Timothy McVeigh, the guy who took a truck full of fertilizer and turned it into a bomb and blew up a federal building, or the Unabomber who sent letter bombs and killed and maimed a bunch of people, or the Olympic Park bomber, some of these horrific examples of domestic terrorism we've had, it's just outrageous. And it's not comparable. And so, for Harry Reid to do that, it's quite different from a situation where you have a guy who has a bunch of people who've come out to support him, who are peaceful protesters engaged in civil disobedience, and the Bureau of Land Management comes down armed to the teeth with snipers and all the rest of it, and basically threatens them with violence to seize their property. Usually a domestic terrorist is an aggressor. They go and blow up a building. They send a letter bomb. They commit some act of terror. These people were defending their property against the federal government. Whether they were right or wrong, they were in the defensive mode, not the attack mode. And Harry Reid is comparing them to these terrorists, just beyond the pale.
And Mark, as you point out in your piece, these were prepared, right? Even though it seemed off the cuff, he appeared to look down at his notes in using the words domestic terrorist, and then, as we heard in that bite, made sure it was repeated, and he said it, and there was no mistaking that he said it. This was calculated, this was planned, and I can't even imagine that.
Well, but so why would the question then become, why would Harry Reid say this? Let's keep in mind, this is a guy who called George W. Bush a loser and a liar, who called Alan Greenspan a political hack, who said all Obamacare horror stories are lies. He's got a long record.
And Mitt Romney hasn't paid taxes in 10 years.
Which was completely fabricated,
right,
based on truth and all the rest of it. So he has a record of saying outrageous things. And most of them are not slips of the tongue. He plans these things. So why would he say this about Clive and Bundy and his supporters? Well, for one thing, he's defending the Obama administration. So if you're the Obama administration, and most people looked and saw the federal government coming down armed to the teeth with sniper rifles trained on Boy Scouts and veterans and grandmothers, and thought that's excessive, right? But if they're domestic terrorists, it's not excessive. Because if you're dealing with domestic terrorists, of course you come armed to the teeth, right? So he's defending the Obama administration. Two, he's defending Neil Cornsey, who's his former land staffer, who just became head of the Bureau of Land Management. This is a guy who's a 35-year-old kid with almost no experience, who's some of his experience was working for Harry Reid on his Senate staff, and was put into this position as the head of the BLM. A lot of people objected, saying he's young and inexperienced, doesn't have it, have the experience for the job. And Reid said, no. Take my word for it. He's good. He's confirmed. And within a few weeks of being confirmed, he's putting on his Janet Reno hat and sending the federal government armed to the teeth to do this raid on the Bundys. So he's setting up First Amendment zones. I thought the country was a First Amendment zone. This guy has presided over, in a month on the job, a complete disaster. He's a Harry Reid staffer. But if he's dealing with domestic terrorists, not a problem. He's doing the right thing. So all of this is calculated.
Yeah, no, he's trying to change the whole landscape of the situation. And, you're not alone in your outrage here. The RNC has issued a press release entitled "Nothing's Too Unethical for Harry Reid," and they've called him a habitual liar. And some of the things you and I've alluded to here are included there. But then they also talk about, the fact that the nominal gifts, the FEC, the gifts to his granddaughter, that they had to kind of yank the admission out of him, and then it turned out there was another gift to his granddaughter and out of campaign funds. I mean, I got to tell you, if you or I did that, we might be in a lot of trouble. And if a Republican did it, they'd try to run him out of the Senate.
Oh, absolutely. But look, Harry Reid feels he can do what he wants. He is truly a political hack. This is a guy who's just he's a mean, crotchety old political hack. He's probably the worst Senate Majority Leader probably in the history of the institution. He's effectively blown up the Senate with the nuclear deal. He's just a bad actor, and so it's not surprising that he's saying this kind of stuff. But if all goes well, he's going to be out of a job, or at least out of the Majority Leader's job in a few months' time.
Let me ask you something. I don't know if you've heard Hillary's comments that she made yesterday, I guess, about women and men. Do we have 39 available? If we could play 39. She made a blanket statement. She didn't qualify it and say some. She made a generalized statement. Just let me know. Okay, here we go. Listen to Hillary and tell me what you think.
As men and women age, men are tired of the race. They've been running it since their late teens. They're exhausted. All they want to do is take a deep breath. They want to retire. They want to play golf. They want to, just enjoy life. And women are raring to go because they feel like they've fulfilled their responsibilities. Their kids are out on their own. It's now time for them to show what they can do. There's a an army of women and frankly a very large group of older women who could make a real difference to America's corporations, businesses, academia, politics, you name it.
All right, not a binder full of women, an army full of women, but that's not the point I want to, or the part I want to concentrate on. I mean, saying, you know, I know it was self-serving, but do you believe that's a sexist statement, saying that when men get older, they don't really care about anything anymore? They just want to be left alone, get out of the rat race, get away. But women, they're out there, baby. I mean, how do you say something like that?
I actually couldn't hear the soundbite.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. Well, paraphrasing her, she basically said, older adults, when men get older, they've had enough. They've done it all. They want to relax. They want to enjoy. They want to get out of the rat race, blah, blah, blah. But women, well, now that the kids are grown and they're out and they've done their job, they want to start to live. They want to do this. They want to do everything. They're go-getters. And again, she didn't say some men, some women. She made a blanket statement. And if Joe Biden said that in reverse, he'd be called a sexist.
Yeah, probably. It's Hillary. I guess there's been all this talk now that she's going to be kind of on the older end when she runs for president, and so I think she's making the point that she's raring to go.
Yeah. All right. By the way, yeah, go ahead. No, I'm sorry. I said go ahead, but I just want to ask you real quick in the couple of minutes we have left, as we put up a copy of the jacket of your book, of course, Courting Disaster, a great book from a few years ago, how the CIA kept America safe and how Barack Obama is inviting the next attack. Mark, what do you make of these drone killings in Yemen? About 40 Al-Qaeda, maybe a chief bomb maker, maybe the guy who made the shoe bomb. Is that kind of an admission by the administration that maybe it's not over?
It is an admission that that it's not over, perhaps, but also it's a tragedy, and not for I'm against those drone strikes, and not for the reasons that Rand Paul and some of the libertarians who oppose them are. I think they're perfectly legal. I just think they're strategically insane. I mean, this master bomb maker is the guy who designed the bomb that the underwear bomber used, and he's apparently designed a new underwear bomb that's almost entirely undetectable by our security screening equipment. He's a really dangerous guy, but he's also trained a lot of other bomb makers. He's training people in his techniques, and so when you vaporize him, you vaporize all the intelligence in his brain.
Yeah.
You vaporize all the computers and phones that he has with him. And so I'd like to be capturing these guys and asking them a few questions.
But Mark, as you well know, we can't ask them questions anymore. Hey, Mark, great talking to you. Thank you very much, and we'll speak to you soon. Marc Thiessen, ladies and gentlemen, here on the Steve Malzberg Show. Always great to talk to him and read him in the Washington Post. Coming back, Larry Toe.
We don't just talk about the news, we talk to those making news. This is the Steve Malzberg Show.